So we're back. Smarter Markets is at IETA's North America Climate Summit 2025 in New York City. And I'm joined by Irungu Waggema, Chief Officer, Strategy, Risk, and Compliance at Nairobi Securities Exchange, and Stephen Mackenzie, Managing Director, EduVOD from Kenya. Thank you both for joining us. Real privilege to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We are honored.
And, I really was very happy to be introduced to the two of you because I find it's very interesting to be able to understand kind of carbon finance at the project level. And, often when people talk about, the benefits of projects, there's the impact on the climate, there's also the impact on the overall community. And I found your project really interesting because it didn't start out as a carbon project. It started out as an educational project that led into the carbon finance area. So I was wondering if you could just take our viewers a little bit through that. What was the educational challenge you were trying to solve, and how did that lead you to the carbon markets?
Thank you very much. That's an interesting perspective. And just to give you briefly, the journey is in Kenya, we've been solving the problem of digitizing education. And this journey started about 12 years ago. 12 years ago, the country was going through the political campaign, change of governments. And one of the promises that at that time the government was promising the country was that the country was going to shift from analog to digital age. And in education, another political promise was that every student would learn with technology in the classroom. In fact, they call it tablet project, that every student will have a tablet in the classroom. And they codenamed the project Digital Learning Program. That was 12 years ago. Leapfrog to when today, and in retrospect, when I started the journey 11 years ago, I started comparing what had been promised and the execution or challenges that were faced, because one thing was having a tablet in the classroom, and challenges of what will that tablet provide? In our case, where we have over 98% of our schools have got no digital infrastructure. There is no ICT infrastructure. There is no internet. There is no networking in the schools. Placing tablets or laptops in the hands of educators and learners was basically insurmountable. And that program failed in its delivery, even though the intention was well intended. Now, when we came in, one of the objectives was to solve for that challenge of how do we digitize the education ecosystem and provide technology in the classroom for instruction and for learning. That was 11 years ago. Little did we know what we were getting ourselves into. Right. Now, throughout that journey, the country, besides us, the technology, there was also new curriculum that was being deployed. And the curriculum that was being deployed is a competency-based education. The curriculum in its nature, it's a digital curriculum, but in the classroom, it's administered manually. And this has resulted into a learning crisis. Now, as a technology company, we've solved that problem. We've automated the process. The only challenge we have is that our users, which is educators and learners, have got no access to the technology required. Now that becomes a cost issue in terms of investment into that digitization infrastructure, ICT, connectivity, devices. So the CapEx cost became another big challenge. So we solved the first problem of automating the curriculum in terms of if the schools were digitized and students and teachers have got access to technology, then the curriculum would be administered efficiently. So those two problems, one is digitization in terms of digital infrastructure, the second one is administrative curriculum. The third problem was now, how do we solve the funding problem? And in our entry to the market, we are a private sector business. We are profit driven. And when we look at the market, our market is divided into in terms of the basic education. We've got public schools, which are funded via tax money. students are going to public schools, do not pay school fees. And we have private schools, which are fee-collecting schools. In terms of split, the public schools are more, we say it's almost anywhere between 60% are public schools. And then we've got the private schools. But the procurement process, the decision-making to procure between the two systems is very different where we come from. We got the opportunity to partner with the largest school systems, and these are they're led by faith-based organizations, both the Catholic Church and the Anglican Church. Together, they control probably over 50% of schools in Kenya. And we got an opportunity to leapfrog or move a little bit faster with the Anglican Church that gave us a mandate to digitize their schools, which are over 4,500 schools. And we got a break through the Anglican Church with a significantly large sample of schools with an estimated over 2 million students. Now, that mandate to us came with a condition that we must not cherry pick schools that can afford our services and leave other schools behind. And this instruction came from the Archbishop himself of the Anglican Church of Kenya. Now, that threw another challenge to us of how do we solve to democratize or provide access to our platform across the entire socioeconomic divide from the top to the bottom. And when we look at that education system of the Anglican Church, anywhere between 40 to 60% would struggle to pay our subscriptions. And we have two plans. We have what we call an access plan. And the access plan is at $25 per student per term. Our term, in a year, we have 3 terms. One term has got 4 months, including the holiday month. So that's one plan. The second plan comes at about $6 a term. Again, the term is 4 months times 3 a year. And on the $6 plan, a lot of students and schools will still struggle to pay $6 for us to deploy our technology to solve administration of curriculum. Now, with that challenge from the Archbishop that we must not cherry pick schools, we ask ourselves, how do we solve this? Because we are almost there. It's like a mirage. We are almost there, but it's still very far. How do we solve that? We went ahead and started analyzing the school budgets. And out of the school budgets, we picked a line item that was interesting. And the line item was energy. And this energy line item is split in two. There's a component that goes to grid power for their lighting. And there's a component that goes into fuel to run their kitchens. And the budget that goes into the fuel to run their kitchens is 70% of the energy budget. And the 70% of the energy budget that is fuel that goes to run their kitchens is wood fuel. Wood fuel. Now, we did some calculations, and for us, that was the point of intervention. We started working to understand a little bit of the impact on climate, on the environment. And through our analysis, we established that a single school of, let's say, 500 students consumes on average about 200 mature trees per year for wood fuel. Now, when we convert that into 4,500 schools, that's 1 million trees per year that are cut for wood fuel. When we add the population for the Catholic schools, which are 2 times the Anglican schools, this gives us 3 million trees just on those 2 school systems. For us, we started asking ourselves, where are these trees? Why is the country a desert? I mean, where do these trees come from? That for us was the point of inflection in terms of how do we convert this? And we designed the Anglican school system into a carbon project. And, without any knowledge of, climate, we had to, the hard way, study climate change and understand climate finance and the subsets of climate finance, and that led us into understanding carbon finance. And then how do we actually develop this into a high integrity, high quality carbon project that we can now tap some of the carbon proceeds into solving our problem. And when we analyzed all that and understood the sector, two things came out clearly. That one, out of our initial baseline studies, that we could achieve significant savings in terms of costs from just transitioning the schools from wood fuel to clean electric cooking. And savings out of that budget, because the schools have got an annual budget that they spend on wood fuel, and we could, out of that 70% that they're spending, we could save an additional 50% of that, and put those funds into a pot for digitization to solve our problem. And then the surplus of carbon credits also comes into this pot, so that now it's hitting two birds with one stone. One, we transition the schools from wood fuel to electric, and at the same time digitize the schools, solving our main challenge, whose main objective is to digitize, bring world-class technologies in the classroom that aligns with delivery and administration of the curriculum. So in summary, that's the journey. All that has happened in the last 11 years. And the point at which we connected with experienced carbon developers to the point that we are sitting here is we went to the market trying to seek assistance in terms of how do we get this and get the right teams, put the right teams together. And through the Nairobi Securities Exchange, we met Mr. Irungu here and his team, and through a program that is called the Nairobi Stock Exchange IBUCA program. IBUCA is an incubator accelerator program of the NSE.
Right. And I'm curious, like, how did you come into the story? How did you come into the journey? And,
all right,
how did you bring it to today?
Yeah, so for me, I think, like he has explained, actually it was that journey. I received a call from one gentleman. He was currently within the IBUCA program, and he told us IBUCA means emerge. It's a Swahili word for emerge, like come out of the water, because as is public markets and all that. So we want to be able to handhold and bring people there. So one gentleman told me there's this passionate guy who is doing digitization. I see we can do a green bond for him. So I met Steven. We went through, I think, the initial onboarding him onto the program, and then we went through carbon. We went through a few. We ran IBUCA is both a school, I normally say that, and also a hospital. A hospital because we check the health of the businesses that are being onboarded, and we see what needs to be remediated. And then a school, in the sense that we also now have, and now we start learning about more of carbon capital markets, the different financing that we have. We also privileged to run the Sustainable Finance Center of Excellence. We are very passionate about that, so we are running it. So we had some sessions that were now going on the education part now to take them through. So we tried, of course, engaging with him. Can this fit a green bond and all that? So we did a diagnostic of the company, and as we went along, we saw there would be more merit in it, angling more on blended finance and more into carbon as well, to be able to push this. And that's how we started. He was very passionate. He actually called me one day. We normally do site visits. He told me, you're going all the way to Kajiado. Kajiado is one of the towns. So we went and saw some of the people who would be beneficiaries under the Anglican Church. And it was really, really nice. So we've been working with him through the journey. We've had several, also from us, from IBUCA point of view. We did different maybe trainings from how to maybe the different products that are available, sustainable finance, how to do roadshows, amongst many others. So I'm really glad that we are here, and he has been very consistent. Actually, we have different types of people within the program. So we are saying there are those who go slowly, marathon. So they take their time, and there are those who are moving very fast. They want to go fast. So him is really none of the two. Him is like he's climbing because he's very, very dynamic. And also we found it very, 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 very engaging. So we focused on having maybe this as one of our firsts of its kind, where we can be able to at least explore carbon through his project. So for us, it has been life-changing. And also what he's doing, I think, aligns a lot to our values as an organization, because it's helping an entrepreneur be able to solve for all these people who need, not, maybe he'll explain, it's not just about digitization, clean cooking. So it has many different nuggets that are in there that really align to what we are doing.
Right. And I wanted to ask you, Stephen, when you look at the money you've been able to save by using, less fuel, move to electric cook stoves, the money you can generate through the carbon credits for that transition, how much of that cost, that, the per student cost of getting the technology into the schools, how much does that cover for you?
Well, per student costs, it covers just about 90%.
Okay.
Yeah, it covers 90% of both the energy transition, the energy in terms of the transition to clean cooking, and as well as digitization. Both from the cost of energy saved and surplus of the carbon credits. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, we're all in New York for Climate Week. What, from your experience in kind of accessing carbon finance, developing important projects like this, what would you want people who are more operating in the financial end of those markets to understand about, how to make these types of projects work from your experience?
I think from my experience, the first critical component and what we are beginning to understand is just the early stage finance for project development. And I mean, it's a very elaborate process. We are given a timeline from start to end, almost 8 months. And when you look at the entire process in itself, it's there's so many components, and all of which require different types of expertise, right from baseline. And all these are cost driven. And the methodology that we are, because we are a technology company, our process right from primary data capture is digitized, all through to insurance. We'd like a situation whereby, the entire ecosystem, all our stakeholders have got digital tools and they can access our information without any human intervention from a device, a dashboard based on stakeholder. You can have it on a real-time basis. So that's what we are building for. And our connection with the financiers is that this, there's a very big divide in terms of finding projects like what we are doing. Yeah, and the credibility that is required to bring that early stage funding to support these projects to the point that they can close and go to market.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe from an exchange point of view, we have a new strategy, 2025, 2029, the Nairobi Securities Exchange. And our purpose, the reason why we are engaging with different entrepreneurs, we want to transform, our purpose is really to inspire Africa's transformation. So we feel that we have the capacity by bringing in the funding part, even to inspire change and transformation of the continent, one entrepreneur at a time. So for us, it has been very eye-opening in terms of even the journey towards carbon finance. We were not carbon experts, but we got him. He was passionate. And then on our ebook platform, it's actually a platform. We have Steve Zwick. Steve Zwick is actually here in the New York Climate Week. He's launching a book, The Carbon Paradoxes. So he's been very, very instrumental because he looked at what they had done preliminarily and then also started now working on it. So also bringing in different other partners who can be able to do that. So for us, it's been a journey of both learning, but also through these strategic partnerships, being able to come to where we are and even just being bold about it. I think one of the things about our strategy, we want to be bold. We want to go into innovative fields where we've not been before. So having him and working with him has been a really great privilege, learning a lot and also going to different places. And we are really looking forward to being able to help him do this, because once it is actualized, and that's really our goal, when you join the Ibuka program, you always have a primary objective. The primary objective may not necessarily be doing a carbon or green or whatever. It's what is the real goal. And that's what we are all focused to. So that's what we are here for. If we can be able to we've already gotten some support even from development finance partners. We have AFDB, the African Development Bank, also interested in the project. They already have like a third into one of it, and then the clean cooking part of it. And then also we have FSD Africa, again, also interested in supporting the first part. So we are actually now looking forward to getting off-takers so that we can actually make this a reality.
That's such a great story. Thanks for taking some time and sharing it with us. Really appreciate it. It's great meeting you both.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
We appreciate your time.